This week, the Valor Flight Crew podcast welcomes Christian Greengrass, John Hamilton, and Mike Cohen from Echo, who are the incredible team who developed the Future Flight Leaders program.
Middle management is one of the hardest jobs, especially in our industry. You're trying to serve people under you. You're trying to report up to management. You're stuck often in the middle. And so for me personally, that led to burnout. And it was no different than burnout on the flight line as a clinician, but we talk about that pretty readily, and that's still hard to avoid. We'll now translate that into management and couple that with I was naive and young and spent a lot of time trying to fight things that I either didn't understand the historical context to, or things that just were out of my control and I wouldn't be able to change, right? So, you couple that into that traditional burnout and all of a sudden, no wonder people leave, right? So I think from that experience for me, from a lot of the folks that are on, and I'll let John add in if he has any other thoughts, we really try to teach a healthy approach.
Welcome back to the Valor Flight Crew podcast. In this episode, we take a deep dive into a program that's helping develop the next generation of leaders in our industry, the Future Flight Leaders Initiative. Leadership in air medical transport goes far beyond clinical expertise or flight experience. It requires strong communication, mentorship, emotional intelligence, and the ability to guide teams through some of the most challenging roles in healthcare and aviation. Throughout this conversation, we're joined by Christian Greengrass, John Hamilton, and Mike Cohen, the three masterminds who help build and shape the Future Flight Leaders program. Together, we explore how the initiative was created, the importance of developing soft skills and leadership, and why structured mentorship and training are essential for the continued growth of the air medical community. From building strong teams to creating a culture of support and professional development, this episode highlights how investing in leadership today creates a ripple effect that strengthens our entire industry. Thank you to our sponsors, Airbus, Metro Aviation, Precision Aviation Group.
Welcome to the Valor Flight Crew podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and Vertical Valor magazine, produced in partnership with Echo, Every Coast Helicopter Operations. The Valor Flight Crew podcast promotes the personnel and life-saving equipment behind helicopter air ambulance services. Join hosts Mike Fideli and Blake Schreider for in-depth interviews and expert insights from air medical personnel, pilots, communication specialists, and maintenance crews who play critical roles in airborne emergency response.
Line 1 accepting.
Copy, Line 1, gotcha, accepting. You're going to be talking to Red Feather 1 on LCEMS.
I think it really drives home the point that like all of you are getting at, in that there isn't that preparation to actually fully tell someone this is what you're getting yourself into. And this is how to manage that, right? And I think that's where a lot of people end up having those pitfalls. And we do see those people end up falling back is, they're not taught how to put those make those boundaries from the beginning to be able to maintain their own sanity and their own wherewithal and abilities to be able to perform that job. And it wears down on people after a while. And you get, it's like you're a high performer in one area, so great, we're going to promote you. And they just expect more and more and more. And it becomes a lot for those people that are new into those leadership positions. And I'm not just talking about management. I'm talking about leading from the front line. When you always have an orientee with you, when you're now promoted to a base lead, when you're in charge of 15 different projects because they know that you're a high performer, like it's all of these little things. And you're not really prepared for what that's going to look like and the demands that are placed on you being in that position. And I think, it kind of brings home the point of what all of you guys have just said, is that we need to change that concept and we need to foster that growth so that people can go into it prepared. They can set their own boundaries. They can understand where they are professionally and personally and how many responsibilities they can accept realistically going into those situations, because I think that's the big challenge.
Our industry rewards good work with more work. Right?
Yeah.
When that
100%.
Not cool. I think for me too, the thing to call out, and I'll shut up here in a second, Cohen, sorry, but like when I was a flight paramedic on the line and my pumps were broken or something, I in my head, the way that it worked, I was like, just buy me some Sapphire pumps. Like, our pumps suck. That new shiny thing is cool. Like, why won't you just buy that for me and make my life easier? And then transitioning to the management side, and realizing how much red tape is between me and these new pumps it's not that easy, right? So I learned a lot. Like, I think it made me a better follower too, right? Or a better boot on the ground, and really understanding the process. Like, very few times is it just that easy to click your fingers and be like, here's your new pumps, right? So it opened my eyes to the administrative side, that it's not just as easy as a lot of people think it is.
Well, that led me into exactly what I was going to say. And thanks for the tee up. So at Future Flight Crew, we pitch to everyone in the industry, hire our graduates because they've been through a program. They've got a good base of education. They know what it means to be in this industry from 20 weeks of education. And they tend to do pretty well when they are hired because they're at least kind of knowing what they're getting themselves into. With future flight leaders, we put 25 people through the program. I guarantee there are a few of them that probably want nothing to do with management afterwards, but we've got 25 people now that know what a holistic aeromedical entry-level manager, clinical educator, preceptor should know and what that looks like. And so for people who want to get on the education track, for instance, they're still going through modules about safety, hiring, documentation, accountability, critical conversations. For people on the operations track, they're still going through, our clinical excellence module and learning about QA and QI. And so I think it creates people that have a better holistic understanding of that next level. And when we talk about leadership for aeromedical, like they're the true manager positions, but there's a lot of informal leadership, and that drives culture at a base. You can be a leader working in a flight line or a clinician position, absolutely. And so our goal is to also make people in the industry have kind of a better view of what it all looks like, because it's so easy when you're on the flight line to shake your fist at management and blame the problems on them, but that's only half the story. And that's it. Coming from someone who's been on both sides and who's had both reactions.
I think back to like some of the podcasts that we've done, and obviously we've talked with you guys about this extensively, and we've known you for a number of years now and gotten to interact and see all of this stuff grow within Echo. But I look back at some of our previous podcasts, and talking with Dave Weber, and then also talking with we just recorded one a couple weeks ago with Zane Atencio, and about leading from the front line, and like all of these things that are like all of these issues you guys are talking about and trying to fix. It's like these are also recognized by a lot of other people in the industry. But thankfully, Christian was able to have this conversation with you guys, and you guys were able to bring this to fruition to create some kind of formalized training to be able to get people to a point where they can do it confidently and competently, because it's not easy to get there. And I don't think people necessarily realize what those extra stressors are. So, kudos to all of you guys for doing that.
And one thing I'll say on to what Mike was saying about the education piece, and I think some people forget this when they go into education, that a lot of times you're looped into more operational facets of the companies that you work for, which would include hiring. I mean, how many times have you as leaders seen a new hire come through and everyone's like, well, this person's just clearly they're not getting it. But then when you look at the paperwork, it's 5 stars across the board. And the FTOs are like, oh yeah, they're doing great shift. We did this, we did that. But now we're getting to that conversation of, well, they're not really performing the way we want them to. So then we have to ask the question, did we fail the trainee? Or is the trainee really kind of not doing well in the program? Where do we mess up? And I think that's where like the crucial conversations come in. And of course, understanding the admin side. So that was just something I was thinking about when Colin was talking a second ago.
Yeah, when we have a clinical misadventure, right? What do? We do a clinical debrief, and oftentimes a root cause analysis to try and figure out, was it really the clinician's fault or is there a system failure? And I'd say a big part of this course looks at all the ways in which systems fail, and not in a negative light, but looking at actual hiring practices. How do we create good culture? How do we create a safe working environment? Stuff like that. And the program really, in my mind, is twofold. We've got the actual education that we do, but a big piece of it also is built on trying to create a cohort so that you have a group of 24 other people that you can network with. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't stop when the program ends. So it was pretty cool to get on our weekly Zooms, and you'd hear people from hospital-based services, big corporate programs, small mom and pop shops all over the industry, like us in the Southwest flying in A-Stars, or our friends up north in the Northeast flying in nice 145s. And everyone could compare, hey, I'm having this struggle at work. And it didn't matter what color flight suit people were wearing. Everyone had similar experiences. Hey, well, at our program, we had something similar. We dealt with it like this. Oh, that's a great idea. We can take that back. And so it was this now 25 program kind of group sharing moment. And hopefully, and where you're out, but I know people still talk. I know that cohort will hopefully continue for the rest of everyone's career.
This is so much information that came from being part of that cohort, but there was a lot of just so much of sharing of experiences. And I think maybe that's the tip on how we develop the longevity, hopefully, in some of these leadership positions. And like you said, it's not just like the executive or these kind of C-suite, but if we know that there's an issue with being in middle management, right? Like just the stigma attached to it, you're stuck in the middle, right? So if we know that that's obviously not optimal, I mean, I don't know many people that are like, man, I am so glad that I am the base lead and I have to take crap from everybody. Like you got to drink from a fire hose, and it's like, you must have your phone on all the time. And then like, call your base lead. Like, I don't know many people that are like, that was awesome. But if we know that like that has its shortcomings, this is hopefully the first step into improving. It's titled middle management because it's in the middle, but maybe it could be that next step, and if we get these people that are, you get your experience as a clinician and you become really good at training. I know for just speaking from my perspective of being an FTO, I've really had to learn real quick on how to have good conversations. And it really taught me a lot of like humanizing, like aspects that my face will say a lot of things without me saying one word. And I really have to work on that. Yeah. I really have to work on that. But maybe these are those steps to keeping these positions, whether it be an education FTO, you start working up to base lead and so on, these regional districts and program managers itself. Maybe it's those steps to where it's not just your middle management catching it from all sides, but you're that next step and you're that next level of, hey, I can handle this. And then if something goes beyond that, you can simply make that handoff. I don't know, maybe it's a hope and dream of mine, but I feel like this was just going through it and listening to everybody. John, there was a big part of me that was like, I think I'm good where I'm at. But there's also that, but I want to be better and I want to be part of this next generation to leave that. When I leave this place, I just want to leave it better than when I was here.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
No, and I think like I've had a phone call conversation, probably multiple with, all four of you on this topic and other things. But, I think when you ask that question, Blake, I look at those leaders that have been in positions for 10, 20, 25, 30 years. And the one thing that I've noticed myself in that evaluation is that those people have amazing teams. So like whether they built that team, right, or they just got lucky and got into a team that was already amazing, like that's the one thing I noticed was people that last that long. My old base manager at Lifelink 3, when I was there, she's now a director. She's one of the best bosses I've ever had. And I only worked for her for 6 months. Right. But here we are, that's 8 years later. And I still look up to her and try and model how she does things. And I think that was one of the things, like looking through the outline here, talking about mentors. I wouldn't be anywhere that I've gotten today without surrounding myself with amazing mentors and people. And so I think we really, like in Future Flight Crew, we did a good job of that. Like, don't just take the first flight job that you get, right? You got to do some good digging and make sure that program is a fit for you and that you're a fit for them. It goes both ways. And I think that's really on the leadership side too, that I feel like we tried to portray in this class. is through all of everybody's experience, mine, Cohen's, the other instructors that came in, and then, the cohort themselves, is surround yourself with good people. It's that easy. And if it's not a fit, then get out. Like, I think to me, it's insanely complicated, but it's also that easy too, right? You surround yourself with a good team, you're going to do good shit.
Yeah.
And now I know we've talked a lot about like the mentorship, but just to kind of clarify on some of that, obviously there's the mentorship within each of those cohorts for those people that now have those, those connections or those people to reach out to. But are you guys also doing something similar to what is in Future Flight Crew, where you are assigning them mentors that are also leaders within the industry, that there are people that they can lead on and go to, and if they have questions or need advice about something?
So that's something that we're going to work on integrating this year. The mentorship program is going to be twofold. Hopefully we'll have our future flight leader students working as mentors for our future flight crew students. So making sure that we have some good interaction and integration between the two programs, but also then making sure that we assign local mentors, depending on where people are based, but local mentors for leaders that are within the community that can also support each individual student in the future flight leader side. Because again, having someone that's been there, done that, have that type of experience. And again, you saw the caliber of folks that have already contributed to this program. Hopefully we can connect our students with people in the industry to also serve in that capacity.
It's really hard to find. Like, the instructors were not insanely hard to find. I think we had a good idea of who we wanted to bring in, but finding a mentor for 25 people in the industry is pretty hard, right? I'll speak for Cohen and myself. If our name is on something, we want people involved that are going to have the same expectations and deliver what we expect from ourselves in the program. And man, finding mentors for a group like this is, I'm not envy of you, Cohen. It's going to be a steep ask, but I think they're out there, right? We know that they're out there.
Let me pitch this out to anyone listening who thinks that they'd be in a position or interested in mentoring. I'll make sure Blake and Mike put my email in the show notes, but shoot me an email. I'm going at echoflightcrew.org and we can get you on board, because we're always looking for people that want to be involved. That was a great opportunity to pitch. We're always looking for people that want to be involved, and it's a very small community. If I don't know you, I probably know someone who knows someone who knows you, right? But yeah, please get in touch. We're always looking for folks that want to contribute.
This program, I know from the feedback and hearing everybody that went through it, like just incredible to just learn so much. That information share, just really being able to relate. And it was great, like what you said earlier about we all fly different airframes and different programs. And it was like, wait, you have the same issues we do? No way. Like, you mean you can't fit all that in your freaking 169? You're full of crap. But it was just really interesting to hear all those similarities. And Cohen, like you just said, it's such a small community, but we all have these same struggles, so to speak, but it's because we are the certain type A personalities that we all want to do such a good job and really do the best that we can. So it really takes so much for all of us to just share as an industry and grow together instead of fighting each other. And I think that was like the biggest thing that I noticed with Future Flight Crew was bringing everybody together, different color flight suits, but we all have the same intent and same mission. And I really was so excited to see that, come to fruition, especially through the leadership cohort. And like last year there was the different breakouts, and for the 2 days of just the workshops and the breakouts, I remember the one scenario that you guys gave, which was we had to pretend we were the area on-call manager. You were the base lead, but you were now on call for the weekend, and it gave us this like.
Blake, now they're going to have to come up with a new scenario.
And that's what we have many.
Just the okay, you're out to dinner, or you're on call, but flight crew had to make a landing. They have a patient on board. They're vented, but then this weather's bad here. You need to get them a ground ambulance, but there's none available. And then, by the way, you're out of medications. Like, it was just this like crazy Final Destination style like scenario. But just having to strategize like in our small groups and really try to come up with the solutions that I think that was it. To me, it made me really think, and it kind of put that in perspective. Like this could be a thing, like if you're that area on call, you got to field that call. So that was one of the workshops that I felt was just very meaningful to me. Can you talk a little bit about like what maybe we could expect this year going forward as far as some of the breakouts, as far as either education, more specific leadership tailored? What do you guys have on the horizon for that?
One of the big changes that we're looking at is last year was a 10-week program. One of the main points of feedback we got was people wanted it to be longer. So I think we're going to add in probably 2 extra weeks, potentially. Still working on some of the details, but looking at expanding some of the didactics. What we do that, and what Blake's referring to, is we bring everyone in on the Friday that right before the conference. So we do 2 to 3 days of in-person scenarios, workshops, lectures. And we had a lot of folks who we were lucky to feature. Lindsay Castle and Steve from MedFlight of Ohio did an excellent Crucial Conversations workshop. I would anticipate similar workshops where, again, we can do some more role-playing, conversation, that type of work. And then we do a day where we have kind of a capstone project. And that's what Blake's referring to, where last year, John and I sat down and picked through, I don't know how many scenarios we've had, both as AOCs, maybe threw a curveball in there to make it a little more challenging. And tried to do some real life, hey, you're in the situation now, you're a manager, and here are hard decisions you have to make. So
every single one of those scenarios that we gave out in that capstone was a real incident that happened to one of the Echo folks that are also in leadership, right? So they're not unicorns like you were describing, Blake, to a T. I mean, you put a little extra spice on it, but
Final Destination.
Yeah, they were all real things, right? So, like, again, just
make that shit up.
Did not make any of that shit up. It all came from real episodes, and that's like just going back to the mantra of like learn from our mistakes or our past, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so tee you up for success. Learn from what happened to us, or I say us loosely, right? But
this was a call I got at 2 a.m. with no training. Maybe now you'll know what you're getting yourself into, right? I sure fumbled my way through that situation. So,
let's say I have a question actually for each of you, kind of similar, but maybe tailored a little bit. And so to start off with, maybe Blake. So obviously going through this program, you've had a lot of takeaways. What would you say is one of the things that was the most profound that you either learned or gained from going through the Future Flight Leaders program? And then from an instructor perspective, John and Mike, you guys have said that, that was something that you enjoyed every week because you had an opportunity to learn something new from some of the people that were so amazing in the industry. What was something that was so profound for you guys? And then lastly, also for Christian, having this brainchild from the beginning, right? And thinking this is where I want this program to go. What were you most surprised by at the end of this first cohort that really was something that maybe you didn't expect, or that was a challenge that or a triumph that I should say that you found in this program? So I guess we can start, Blake.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
I learned one of the biggest takeaways, or probably the biggest takeaways that I took from everybody that was these insanely well-respected leaders. The biggest thing that I learned was just, if you are in that position and to be a great leader, you have to find humility and being open and honest and having that communication. And it's not so much about like giving the communication, but listening was probably one of the biggest things. And it's very what I heard was it's so easy to, as a leader to want to give all these things and do all this stuff, but it really takes so much to be able to listen and then take that and use that to help drive to make those leadership decisions and make things better. So I really found a huge takeaway of finding that humility, being honest, and really taking that time to listen.
Love that. Mike?
I'd say my biggest takeaway is that you're not alone, right? I think management can, and a lot of what we can do, especially management, can be incredibly isolating.
Yeah.
Getting to
you feel like you're on your own little island somewhere.
Yeah. You're trying to make everyone happy. You're trying to do management's bidding, upper management. You're trying to be supportive of your crews. And I know my experience was isolating. And seeing an assortment of incredible instructors come in and be a part and say, yeah, I've been there. We're here to mentor. There's support. And truly, if you find yourself in a program with none of that, no good leadership, no mentorship, no support, it might be time to cut bait and leave, right? But I would say for the vast majority of us, there are people in the industry in our shoes, no matter how you cut it. And it's important to also pick your head up and look for resources and access them.
Love that. John?
I think for me, it was similar to Cohen, but set boundaries, right? So to hear like Mike Frakes at Boston Med Flight, just a genius of a dude, right? Like I've always looked up to him and how brilliant he is. And to, hear leaders of his caliber talk about humanizing these roles and setting boundaries and like, listen, I'm not perfect, because in my mind, Frakes in Boston Med Flight was perfect, right? Right. So hearing their experiences and, but to echo what Cohen said is that it's nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to do this job perfectly. Surround yourself with good people and set boundaries. It's really what I took from it. But, figuring out it, I was always insanely intimidated of Michael Frakes, and, learning that he's a human with a little boy running around in the background was really cool to see. Right. And to like Susan Rivers, Lindsay Castle, like, yeah. Lindsay and I text all the time now still, right? I insanely respected those ladies as well, and hearing their kind of humanizing approach to their leadership styles and how they were all just a little bit different because of whatever reason, but still the same, right? Just they're humans too, right? They have feelings, they have emotions about it, and just learning from their experiences was incredible for me.
Very nice. And Christian, what was your biggest surprise?
Well, I really had quite a few. It's like, number one, the fact that it actually happened was awesome. Like, I was like, whoa,
wow!
I actually had an idea for once. And
man, he had so much confidence in you guys.
No, I mean, really, like, I just, sometimes we have like these dreams, right? And we always think, how nice would that be? And for me, that wasn't the surprising part, because the two guys that I handed it to, I knew it was going to happen, but it was just to see it, just to go and meet the cohort. I really didn't get any time to interact with them or any of the instructors, really. I know a lot of the instructors from MTLI and other places, and to John's point, I look up to Mike Frakes quite a bit, and Chuck Hogan and many of those people that are there. They're wonderful people. And just to see it come together, seeing leaders who really see the value in this and see that same vision and dream all come together, and just to see the cohort. I got to meet them at a dinner one night at the conference in Louisville, and I was just blown away. I was just like, wow, this is more than anything I could have ever asked for. And this is the exact thing I would have killed for when, I was new to the leadership game. And I'm just glad it's happening. I mean, if anything, I just hope it continues and keeps growing. And that's all I could have ever wanted for it. It's just, I'm an outcomes guy, or I'm a data guy. I want to see the outcomes here. And I think the outcome, it's really coming to fruition, and we're going to make our industry over the years, it's going to improve even more so. And I can't wait to see what that looks like.
That's awesome. One of those full circle moments, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
In Christian's defense, I think we were all pleasantly surprised it happened. Christian floated this idea, and this, I can't believe it was this long ago, but probably mid 2023 into 2023. And we put it on the back burner for a while and mulled it over and thought, yeah, it's a great idea. Someday it'll happen.
And then at the 2024 conference on the last day, we said we should probably just announce it. And if we announce it publicly, then we'll have to make it happen. so we announced in about 9 months
at that point.
we announced it. We set a meeting 9 months from then, and John and I hopped on Zoom, and we're kind of locked in at that point. So yeah, it definitely stoked to happen. It was a proud effort, I think, for all of us, but big thanks to Christian for coming up with that initial idea and letting us kind of carry it out.
Yeah, I think like every person that we talked to about it too said that needs to happen. Like, please make that happen. And, you know, last year was kind of a bummer. I did, you know, Future Flight Crew and then Future Flight Leaders last year for 5 years and had to step away talking about setting boundaries. Right. And that was, I can't count the amount of times that I got choked up in Louisville with both Future Flight Crew and Future Flight Leader cohorts. They gave it, you can see Cohen's kind of in the background. They gave us this amazing shadow box that is still, mine's right behind me still. Like, and then you got Blake and Fidali giving us the Spirit of Echo Award, right? Like, I can't tell you how many times that I got choked up, but that's what Echo means to me, not meant to me. Like, I still obviously believe in that, but we wanted to deliver a program that stayed true to what people expect out of Echo now, right? It's all volunteer, and it was a fun thing to put together. But we didn't, I'll speak for myself, Cohen. I think you were the same. I didn't get to spend a ton of time with Future Flight Crew from last year because we were in with Future Flight Leaders for most of it, right? And when I stepped away, my wife did a little dance and was like, "I get you back on Monday nights now," but it is so much more than that, right? Like all
Wait,
the
she actually wants to spend time with you?
Yeah, I know somebody does. Right? Somebody in the world actually likes me being around. But no, I think it's we insanely proud of what we put together, and it's not that, you know, Cohen and I have this magic sauce of anything leadership, but we stuck to what Christian expected with his idea, what we heard from the industry, and our own personal high expectations of ourselves and the product that we put out, and representing Echo and what we deliver to the industry as an organization, right, was really important to us. But I have no doubt that Cohen will take it moving forward and all of Echo's support moving forward, and it'll blossom into an even better program.
I'll extend that to also say a huge thanks to our FFC team, all the instructors there, all the support we got from the rest of our Echo teams and the board of directors just to be able to make this happen. It was something that we took on, but it would not have been possible without everyone else. And another thing that John and I preached often to our last group, and kind of a leadership tenet, I believe, is looking for your successor from day one, right? We should know who's going to replace us, and we should be preparing them throughout our tenure. And so John also did a great job with that. I'm going to miss John big time, but really lucky to have Josh Bankston stepping on board to help fill that role. And I think that we're looking good and onwards and upwards. It's a good program. I hope it's around for a long time. And yeah, really grateful for everyone's support industry-wide.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
I think you guys all deserve that pat on the back. You said you don't like to pat yourselves on the back, but I look at the three of you gentlemen right here from day one, just from when we all met. I think that you guys we talk about future flight leaders. You guys are the leaders bringing leadership to this industry. So I think you do deserve that pat on the back.
100%.
And, you know, when we talked outcomes, I think the numbers speak for itself. Look how many people are applying to FFC. Look how many more people have interest in the future flight leaders now coming up. I think that's a very measurable outcome. Christian, I think that'll make you happy. That's a good data. And then
I'll
also
do a control chart later.
But I think too now, like we all are so happy when the students come through Future Flight Crew and they get flight jobs. But now it'll be really good to see how many people that go through Future Flight Leaders are getting into leadership positions. So I really think that is going to be that next step tie-in that really just shows the success of Future Flight Leaders. And do we have any numbers on that? Do we know of anybody that's kind of made that progression into leadership out of this last group?
We've gotten a few emails. I don't know, John, if you know how many I've gotten, probably a handful of people.
No, I mean, I was hoping that I would remember to talk about that. Like easily the best part of Future Flight Crew was getting the email, a month or 6 months after they graduate from the program and being like, I got my first flight job, right? Like that was why I did this. And the emails for Future Flight Leaders are starting to come in too. So yeah, I can think of 2 or 3 off the top of my head that have gotten positions because of their experience that they got from our program, which makes your heart happy for sure, right? I think this group is going to be a little bit different, or this program is going to be a little bit different from Future Flight Crew in that a good majority of that cohort was already in some sort of position and they were just trying to hone their skills or learn something new. Right. So I don't think it'll be as dramatic as the emails that we got from Future Flight Crew, but they're definitely coming.
Yeah, but I think it's also more than that too. It's, people such as Blake, who's an FTO, who's learning the essential skills to be able to be a better FTO. That may not come with necessarily like a, position change or a title change. But they're people who are doing the job every day and leading from the front line.
We've gotten a few emails from folks that have said, hey, this program helped me in this capacity. Whether people move on to different titles or end up in the C-suite, I could care less. I want people who are better able to represent what a good aeromedical program should be, whether that's from the line, as an FTO, as a manager. And, it's also worth mentioning, right? Like we all, and I say we all, everyone on this call does Echo for free, right? It's a huge labor of love, but what makes it worth it is those emails. And it's easy over the course of 20 weeks for FFC or however long throughout the year to kind of get a little burned out with it. But every time we hear that, hey, this made a difference, that is the most invigorating feeling.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
100% on that. And that's what I absolutely love about it is like the passion that comes from each and every person on this call and in this podcast and in Echo. Like the passion is what truly keeps me going year to year, and being able to reconnect with all of you guys and see that there are people that just absolutely love, because it's easy to get caught up, right? It's easy to get into that like lull. It's easy to get into that, man, I just don't want to do this today. I'm not feeling it anymore. And getting to sit down and talk with all of you guys and seeing the programs and the work that are coming out of it and the difference it's making in the industry, it reinvigorates me every single time. And I freaking love it. And I'm so incredibly proud of all of you guys and what you have done with both FFC and FFL, and hats off to all of you guys. It's amazing work.
Appreciate it. It's fun.
Yeah. It's been a ride.
Mike, I think you talk about full circle moments, and I was thinking about this as we were all talking, which is if we think about our Future Flight Crew cohorts, right? When we get them ready for the industry, right? We're preparing high performers for their future at these programs, and a good program is going to support a high performer with high performing leadership. You have to have good leaders to support those people. So where I think this comes full circle, where I think it's going to be synergistic, a synergy, is where we're going to be releasing these Future Flight Crew students to the students who are in Future Flight Leaders, who are better leaders, to help mentor those Future Flight Crew students. And so ultimately the programs are going to succeed. And where we measure that, not to get too technical, I mean, I think where the outcomes are going to be is something we really couldn't probably measure on the Echo side, which is it's turnover, it's retention, it's going to go downstream to all different levels of leadership. It's going to be shockwaves, not just a simple ripple, right? I think it's going to affect everyone throughout the organization. And to John's point, those programs where you're like, wow, they're surrounded by a great team. Well, how do you get that great team together? And I think this is one of the things that we're doing to kind of help get it there.
man, full circle to, I mean, to just show like that's the goal, right? That's always been the mission of Echo, right? Is for flight crews by flight crews, right? And to just build these programs and just already good and great programs and just make them even better. And if we can do that at that individual level, it really does come full circle. And then everybody, even just attending the conference, and then when you go back to your base, you bring something back. And I feel like that just has that ripple effect where you work. And I feel that this is really where that starts. So again, kudos to all the work that is being put in for you guys, Christian, John, Mike, for all the work that you guys do for this. I think we can't thank you enough. In this industry, we need it. And I think that you guys have really been steering the ship in the right direction.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Blake. And final pitch, if you're interested in applying, if you're interested in applying for FFL 2026, keep an eye on Echo social media on Facebook, on our website, and applications should be out in 1 to 2 months, depending on when you listen to this. Or if you're looking to get involved, please contact myself or Josh Bankston, and we'll see what we can do.
Awesome.
With your headphones, Mike, I thought you were going to say click like or subscribe or something, at the bottom of it.
Smash that like button.
Say thank you guys very much for joining us. This has been an awesome discussion, and I'm super excited to see what happens with FFL this year. It's some amazing work you guys are doing, and really looking forward to seeing what happens again. So hopefully I will be able to get involved a little bit more with you guys this year. Fingers crossed. We'll see how time pans out, but we'd love to get more involved and be able to learn from some amazing people in the industry. If you guys are interested, make sure you head on over to the Echo website. It's going to be echoflightcrew.org, and make sure you check out the Future Flight Leaders and Future Flight Crew tabs on there if you want to get involved or to become part of the next year's cohort. So any questions, we'll make sure that we have linked information for Mr. Cohen so you guys can get in touch with him. And also, again, thank you to all of our listeners out there for your continued support of the Vertical Hellcast platform and the Valor Flight Crew podcast. Once you're all caught up on the Valor Flight Crew podcast, make sure you head on over to verticalhellcast.com, where you can check out some other amazing podcasts: Hangar Z podcast, the Helicopter podcast, Vertical MRO podcast, and the Real Rescue podcast. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, everyone.
See you.
Hasta.
Bye.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Valor Flight Crew podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support. Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 160-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
That wraps up this episode of the Valor Flight Crew podcast. A big thank you to John, Christian, and Mike for sharing their experiences, insight, and advocacy on a topic that affects all of us in healthcare and public safety. One message stands out clearly. It's that leadership development doesn't have to happen by accident. Programs like Future Flight Leaders remind us that strong teams and strong organizations are built when we intentionally invest in mentorship, communication, and leadership growth. Whether you're stepping into your first leadership role or you have years of experience guiding teams, there's always something to learn from those who came before us. And as our guest shared during the conversation, you're not alone in management. Leadership can feel isolating at times, but through programs like this, our industry is creating spaces where professionals can learn from each other, share experiences, and grow together. Because when we develop better leaders, we ultimately build stronger teams, and that benefits the entire medical community. To all our listeners, thanks for joining us for this conversation and your continued support of the Valor Plus platform. Whether you're part of a flight crew or just passionate about the world of air medical transport, we hope you found some takeaways to apply on your next shift. If you haven't already, head over to www.echoflightcrew.org to learn more about the teams and programs that support this community, and be sure to follow the podcast so you don't miss upcoming episodes. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time on the Valor Flight Crew podcast, where we continue to highlight the people and stories that make this industry great.